Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be designing the first letter on some older books that you see. So let's get into the video. I got this idea from my interest in general. If you know me in real life or you have watched multiple of my videos, my recent ones especially, you know I really like reading. And you also know I like history a little bit. I like fashion history especially, but I just generally like history. I find it interesting. So I remember being in museums and all their stuff from holidays and stuff. I don't have them actually. And a lot of the time when you look at older books, I'm saying I think about 15th, 16th century, when books started becoming written by monks, sorry, mispronunciation there, monks a lot. And there's a really fancy lettering at the beginning page. It's like gold leaf and ink and they look really intricate. Also probably very, very, very time consuming, seeing as there's very many beginning of pages and beginning of sentences in these books. The writing is incredibly swirly and fancy, and you have to illustrate the first word of at least every chapter, if not every page, depending on the book you're writing. That would take forever, especially since this is all done by hand. So yeah, probably not the most efficient way of doing things ever, but I guess everything starts from somewhere, and I'm happy they started writing books. They're amazing. Anyway, I like these things, they look very pretty. I decided to design my own. So I looked up on Google some examples of this. Apparently there's not actually, or like the very like 5 minute Google search I did, there's no name that I could find very easily for these things. And eventually I did find some examples. I'll try this one here. So I started sketching in my sketchbook. Well, it felt very empty. Not this sketchbook, by the way. When I was sketching, there's another sketchbook that I use for just pencil sketches and just other random sketches, especially when I'm not. And this sketchbook will probably a lot of the sketches from this sketchbook will not be on Instagram either. This is just a personal sketchy sketchbook that I use. And I was sketching around, it looked very empty, little illustrations, so I decided I'd add a person. At first I had her like slumped against it and like head and hands, and okay, so she was see, trying to get different angles, and eventually I settled on this sort of pose. I think it kind of looked better in the other sketch, in my other sketchbook, which I showed you, which was mess, but I think it looked better then. Well, anyway, that's the final sketch. It looks okay. I set up my filming equipment and I started to sketch it out. For medium, I am going to be using watercolour. From what I can tell, these things are originally done with feather dip pens and ink. I do not have original ink that would probably not work that well. Also, I'm not really interested in using different mediums. I like watercolour, easy, know how to use it, doesn't stain, because I'm really using. I still use it for like a lot as well, that does stain, pain to get off your desk, but I like using that as well. I've also been using it for a long time, yeah, but it goes. With the girl who's died, I know I just finished talking about that, it is I'm talking about it again, because these videos are really not scripted, and my brain just like jumps from subject to subject really easily, like I'm in a conversation, but really confusing all of someone who has to know me very well. Otherwise, they would probably be very confused because I have no logic to the way my brain jumps from subject matters. So, the girl. I'm not very good at drawing side profiles at all. So, her face is kind of tipped a little bit more towards us. It's like hideous, though it still looks hideous. But the body just looks off. Just pretend it's a fantasy, it's just a doll or something. Or just ignore it completely if you can. It's fine. I also decided to start drawing little thorns on it because I'm reading Rebel Rose at the moment, which I'm not enjoying it has no correlation with the original Beauty and the Beast from this Christmas Tale series. I'm not going to talk about that right now because it makes holes. Yeah. On the cover, there are lots of thorns on the vines that are wrapping around the words, and I was like, I'll do that. Did it? No, not gonna do that. I'll put leaves instead. It's very naturey. Also, about the flowers, I'm not very good at drawing flowers. I guess I can practice because I did become a lot better at drawing animals inside from practicing. Also, using reference photos helps. Use your reference photos. Don't do like me. Don't just kind of try and make it up and then come on later on about how it doesn't look like it would look like. Use your reference. Not that just in general. But yeah, I tried to draw the flowers. Not great. They're very cartoony. And I guess that's all I have to say about it. And then outlined it, and I believe it's 0.5. That was generally the size I used for my outlines because it's big enough that you can see the line. It's not pain to work with and stuff. And it's small enough that you can still get the details and stuff. I will still use like the smaller 0.1 and 0.3 for the face, often the flowers, and some just small areas. That's what they're also very good at. With 0.7, I will use that for larger areas if I'm doing a bigger illustration, or just generally larger parts, or writing the data at the bottom of the page. Because using the smaller pen like that, then it looks fine. To be honest, you can probably read it anyway. But I think it looks better when the lines are really big and bold, so you can definitely tell what date was made. When I was younger, I didn't date my work. I was like, I'll remember. I did not. Sorry, I did not remember. I did not remember the dates of the art I made, and then I know rough years. Some things like I can kind of tell roughly. Oh, that must have been this time in my life, or that time in my life. But generally, I cannot remember exactly how old it was. So I just know it's kind of primary school, sometimes lower primary school, or like nursery, or maybe slightly older primary school or something. That's all I know. So date your work as well. That's also very important. It means that you know when you're older what date, what year, or just like generally what age you were when you moved to far. So you can just see when you look over your art when you're older how much progress there is in between and what you're drawing at certain ages. I just think it's nice to know. I mean, I guess it's not mandatory, but it's nice to know. So I think I started dating my work after I got my sketchbooks because I follow drawing with photos. And she would always, at the front of her sketchbooks, have the date that she started and the date that she ended the sketchbook. And I watched her videos and I liked that idea. So I started doing that. Also, this has nothing to do with what I'm actually doing on stream right now. It's not the front page of another sketchbook. I don't go through sketchbooks that quickly. Though I am quite a fair bit into it, even though I only started this sketchbook a week ago or something. I'm going to pretend that everything's fine. when everything is fine, I'm just drawing a lot more than I normally, and that I will be able to once school fully starts up again, because alone I'm doing 2 or 3 pieces a day, which is quite a lot of things compared to how much I would be able to while we were going to school, because I remember a piece every day was really pushing it when I was doing the Christmas challenge, and I just could not keep up with it October enough, so I just did it once a week. And with Mermaid, I didn't even manage to do that. I will be trying to do that this year though, so maybe there'll be videos up about that, maybe not, knowing my way of forgetting good ideas really quickly. Just remembering the really, really bad ones, really cheesy ones. Also, my inability to talk about the actual thing we're watching right now is funny, so let's get back into that. So I decided to paint the A, the kind of gold colour, as kind of homage to what things can be done in gold leaf. And obviously the like vines would have been, I will paint them green, something like that. I decided to go for a red for the dress because I can't actually remember the reasoning behind that. So sorry, there's no reasoning. I did. I gave her the same clothes here as the A, so it was kind of matched a bit. And I also gave the flowers the same colour as the dress, so there's a good enough colour scheme. I'm still working on my colour scheme. I remember I did do a video near the beginning of my channel, which is almost been a year now, where I did do a colour theory, practicing colour theory, I think it's called, probably. I haven't practiced since then, and even then I didn't get it. I tried to make a video, but I didn't really understand. I understand a little bit now, so I probably could remake the video and actually give some tips on what I've learned and show how to work on it and stuff, and also just practice a little bit more. I'm not an expert on it, I don't think I ever will be, but I have learnt more than I did when I made that video, which is kind of funny. It's just, I think, just learn about it from other people, more about it. I think a lot of the time I learn a lot of these things off YouTube, and also just practicing as well. But I'll give more tips when I make that video, if I ever get around to doing that. That is. So yeah, I still think that this piece is very simple. There's not really much of a background. There's just some flowers holding quite a bit, which is kind of the description of all my art. Just some sort of shape floating in a white abyss with a character in the beginning. Unless it is one of my landscape drawings, and then it's just like the hills, a sea, or a sky or something. I'm really not good at drawings. And but I kind of like it being simple. It's very fancy, which is kind of my thing at the moment. I like how it looks. I like making people look fancy looking. They just downright strange things. Could I have done this better? Because there are things I've learned with this. I could have drawn the vines more. I could have practiced more of getting her a better posture, the girl, obviously. I could have given it a better background. I could have coloured in the background. I could maybe centred it better on the page because it's very high up on the page. But am I probably going to make another one of these drawings or paintings? No. I don't really want to redo the idea. I like it, sort of, but I'm going to leave it as it is. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about this. Sorry, I basically didn't talk about the entire thing for more than like a minute or so. Mostly I was just talking about utter rubbish. So, if you like watching videos of me talking about random things while you're watching paintings, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.